The grand chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with the echoes of recent celebrations. The banners of the newly inducted Ilmer Confederation were still fluttering in the cool air, a testament to the successful conclusion of a historic treaty. The Ilmer, an advanced and peace-loving species, had finally agreed to join the ranks of the Council, becoming the 235th spacefaring civilization to do so. Amidst the congratulatory handshakes and the exchange of pleasantries, the Galactic Chancellor, an elder statesman of considerable experience, approached the Ilmer ambassador. His eyes glinting with both wisdom and caution conveyed a sense of urgency that cut through the festivities. "Ambassador," the Chancellor began in a low, measured tone, "I must commend you and your people for making a choice that will undoubtedly benefit the entire galaxy. But I would be remiss if I did not offer you a word of caution. There are species within our great assembly that you must be wary of, one in particular that has a reputation for being difficult." The Ilmer ambassador tilted his head, his translucent tendrils swaying gently as he regarded the Chancellor with curiosity. "Difficult in what way, Chancellor?" The Chancellor sighed, a deep resonant sound that hinted at long years of dealing with complex galactic politics. "I'm referring to the Zelkor, a species that inhabits the fringes of our galaxy. They are one of the most ancient civilizations known to us, and their influence stretches far and wide. But despite their technological prowess and their deep knowledge of the universe, they are not an easy people to deal with." The Ilmer ambassador frowned, a ripple of concern passing through his otherwise serene features. "What makes them so challenging?" The Chancellor mused, as if considering how best to convey the intricacies of the Zelkor. "It is not their strength or their size, nor is it their military power. No, the Zelkor are difficult because of their moral convictions. You see, when the Council was still in its infancy, we extended a hand of friendship to the Zelkor, much as we have to you today. They were curious about the Council, intrigued by the idea of a galaxy united under a banner of cooperation and mutual respect." The Chancellor's expression darkened as he continued. "But when we reached the point of discussing our commercial and cultural practices, things took an unexpected turn. The Zelkor, despite their curiosity, were appalled by certain aspects of our laws and traditions. In particular, they took issue with practices that many in the galaxy hold dear: slavery, eugenics, and certain forms of cultural expression that they deemed barbaric." The Ilmer ambassador's eyes widened. Surely they could not have been that opposed. These practices, while perhaps distasteful to some, are part of the rich tapestry of our galaxy's diverse cultures. Opposed? The Chancellor let out a mirthless chuckle. "Ambassador, they were more than opposed. The Zelkor rejected our customs outright. They refused to join the Council and severed all but the most minimal contact with us. Every time we hold a galactic election, they send a message, a scathing condemnation of our ways of life, growing harsher with each passing cycle." He leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "And it doesn't end there. If one of your ships should stray into their territory, no matter the reason, it will be captured, its crew imprisoned indefinitely. Any slaves aboard will be freed and given asylum. The Zelkor will shelter anyone who opposes our traditions, fueling discontent and rebellion in more conservative societies." The Ilmer ambassador's tendrils curled inward, a sign of deep contemplation. "But why? What drives them to such extremes?" "That, Ambassador, is the great mystery," the Chancellor replied. "The Zelkor claim to be guided by a set of moral principles that they believe are universal, a code of ethics that they refuse to compromise even at the cost of galactic unity. To them, the very practices that we consider part of our cultural heritage are abominations that must be eradicated. And they will stop at nothing to see their vision of the galaxy realized." The Chancellor straightened, his tone growing more formal. "I tell you this not to dissuade you from your commitment to the Council, but to prepare you. The Zelkor are a thorn in the side of our great assembly, a reminder that even in a galaxy as vast as ours, there are those who will not bend, who will not compromise, and who will challenge the very foundation of our unity." The Ilmer ambassador nodded slowly, a newfound gravity in his posture. "I understand, Chancellor. We will tread carefully. But I must admit this makes me wonder, what kind of galaxy have we truly joined? The Chancellor placed a reassuring hand on the ambassador's shoulder. A galaxy that, despite its challenges, holds the promise of greatness. The Zelkor may be difficult, but they are not insurmountable. With time and patience, perhaps even they can be brought into the fold. Until then, we must remain vigilant and remember that the path to unity is seldom smooth. As the Chancellor turned to rejoin the celebrations, the Ilmer ambassador remained where he stood, lost in thought. The galaxy, it seemed, was a far more complex and treacherous place than he had imagined. But the Ilmer had made their choice, and now they would have to navigate the delicate balance between tradition and progress, unity and division, a balance that would define their place in the stars for generations to come. As the celebrations around him continued, the Ilmer ambassador, Sarth, found his thoughts swirling in a tempest of uncertainty. The Chancellor's words had painted a picture of a galaxy far more divided and morally complex than the one he had imagined. The Ilmer had always prided themselves on their peaceful nature and their ability to find common ground with others. But now, Sarth wondered if they had underestimated the challenges that lay ahead. His tendrils, usually steady and composed, twitched with a mix of anxiety and curiosity. The Zelkor, a species so firm in their beliefs that they would reject the unity of the galaxy itself. What drove them to such extremes? What kind of moral code could be so rigid, so uncompromising, that it would cause them to isolate themselves from the broader galactic community? Sarth decided that he needed to know more. He made his way through the throngs of diplomats and dignitaries, his path set toward the Council archives. If the Ilmer were to navigate this new reality, they needed to understand the galaxy's history, its conflicts, and its darkest secrets. The Council archives were a vast labyrinth and repository of knowledge, holding records that span millennia. As Sarth entered the Grand Hall, the automated systems recognized his presence and a holographic interface materialized before him. "Greetings, Ambassador Sarth," the archive's AI intoned in a calm, soothing voice. "How may I assist you today?" "I need to learn more about the Zelkor," Sarth replied. "Everything the Council knows about them, their history, their culture, their interactions with other species." The AI paused for a brief moment, processing the request. The Zelkor have been a subject of considerable study, though much about them remains shrouded in mystery. Would you like a summary or do you prefer to delve into specific details? "Give me the summary first," Sarth said, "then I'll explore the details." The AI began its presentation, holographic images and data streams filling the space around Sarth. The Zelkor are one of the oldest known spacefaring civilizations in the galaxy. Their homeworld, Zelder, lies in a remote sector far from the bustling trade routes and core worlds. For millennia, they have pursued a path of isolationism, interacting with other species only when absolutely necessary. Despite their reclusiveness, the Zelkor have developed a highly advanced technological civilization. Their understanding of quantum mechanics, artificial intelligence, and bioengineering surpasses that of most other species. However, the AI continued, it is their rigid moral and ethical code that defines them. The Zelkor believe in what they call the universal ethic, a set of principles that they claim are inherent to the very fabric of the universe. The AI displayed an image of a Zelkor elder, their eyes glowing with an eerie light as if they could see into the very soul of the galaxy. This universal ethic, the AI continued, is centered around the sanctity of all sentient life. The Zelkor reject any practice they perceive as violating this sanctity: slavery, eugenics, exploitation, and even certain forms of cultural expression that involve harm or coercion. They consider these practices to be abominations and will not tolerate them in any form. Their commitment to this ethic has led them to take extreme actions, the AI added. They have waged covert wars against species they deem morally corrupt, destabilizing governments and freeing enslaved populations. They offer sanctuary to dissidents and revolutionaries, often at great risk to themselves, and they have made it clear that they would rather stand alone than compromise their principles. Sarth absorbed this information, his mind racing with the implications. The Zelkor were not merely difficult, they were zealots, driven by a sense of moral superiority that made them both dangerous and unpredictable. What about their relations with other species? Sarth asked. Have they ever allied with anyone, or are they truly isolated? The AI displayed a series of galactic maps highlighting the territories of the Zelkor and their few known allies. The Zelkor maintain a loose coalition of species that share their ethical views, though these allies are few and far between.